Good day everyone. We are Group 1 and today we will present about the purpose of general provisions of SOLAS Chapter 2-1. This chapter is one of the most important parts of the International Convention for the Safety of Life at Sea, also known as SOLAS. It mainly focuses on how ships are built, how they are subdivided into water compartments, and how stability is maintained even during accidents like floodings or collisions. The reason why this chapter is so vital is because it sets the foundation of safety without strong constructions and proper stability. Even the best navigation or fire protection rules cannot save a ship. In our presentation, we will explain the purpose of this chapter, why it is important, its historical background, how it relates to other Solace chapters, and finally, we will look at some real-life examples of disasters that shape these rules. By the end of our discussion, we hope you will understand how Chapter 2-1 ensures the ships are not only worthy but also capable of protecting lives at sea. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Barrio Christian D. Now let's proceed and talk about the purpose of SOLAS Chapter 2 Part 1. So, the main purpose of SOLAS Chapter 2 Part 1 is to make sure ships are designed and constructed in a way that protects human life at sea. Ships face many risks such as collisions, flooding, machinery failures, and stability problems. This chapter sets standards for how strong the hull should be, how the ship should be subdivided to prevent sinking, and how machinery and electrical system must be designed for safety. In short, the purpose of it is to reduce the chances of accidents and to protect both the crew and passengers in the case of emergencies. Now let's talk about its objectives. So, in the objectives, we have three different types of it. We have the primary purpose, key areas covered, and applicability. Primary purpose is to ensure ship survivability in case of damage or flooding. Set standards for watertight integrity, including bulkheads and compartments. Regulate machinery and electrical system to prevent failures and that could endanger the vessels or crew. The next one is the key areas covered. So we have here the subdivision and stability. Rules for how ships must be divided into watertight compartments to survive flooding. Structural strength. Requirements for hull constructions to withstand the sea conditions and operational loads. So next one is the machinery and electrical installations. Safety standards for propulsions, steering, power generation, and distribution systems. So this one is damage control measures to detect and manage flooding to structural compromise. So the last one is the applicability. It applies to passenger ships and cargo ships of certain size and type. Includes specific provisions for new ships and some retroactive requirements for existing vessels. So that's all. Thank you.
I'm Justin Abasola at nandito ako para ipaliwanag sa inyo ang importance ng ship's construction, subdivision, and stability. So, ship construction, subdivision, and stability are three areas that directly affect safety. Construction ensures the ship's structure is strong enough to withstand the rough seas and impacts. So, and then subdivision means dividing the ships into watertight compartments, so even if one area is damaged, the whole vessel doesn't flood and sink. Stability is the ship's ability to stay upright and balanced, especially when loading cargo or when water accidentally enters. Without stability, even small problems can lead to capsizing. Together, these three elements are the backbone of safe ship and design operations.
Good day, everyone. Today, I will talk about the history of SOLAS Chapter 2-1, which deals with the constructions, subdivisions, and stability of ships. Its story is written not just in regulations, but in the painful lessons of maritime disasters that cost many lives. Let's begin with of one of the most famous tragedies, the sinking of RMS Titanic in 1912. At the time, the Titanic was considered unsinkable, but when it struck an iceberg, the water quickly spread through its compartments because it lacked proper watertight subdivision. In simple terms, the walls meant to hold back flooding were not high enough. As a result, more than 1,500 people lost their lives. This disaster shocked the world and led directly to the first SOLAS Convention in 1914, the starting point of international efforts to improve the ship's safety. The second case is the SS Moro Castle in 1934. This passenger ship caught fire off the coast of New Jersey because of poor fire safety measures and weak constructural protections. The fire spread rapidly, trapping passengers and crew. This showed the urgent need for better fire-resistant constructions and emergency system. As a result, stricter design standards were pushed into international regulations to ensure that ships could better withstand onboard fires. Moving forward, another milestone tragedy was the Herald of Free Enterprise in 1987. This was a roll-on roll-off ferry that capsized just minutes after leaving port because the bow doors were left open. Water rushed into the car decks, and the ship quickly lost stability. The accident highlighted the importance of watertight integrity, crew discipline, and the need for proper operational procedures. It was a turning point for stability requirements under SOLAS Chapter 1-1. So if we look at these three disasters, the Titanic, the Moro Castle, and the Herald of Free Enterprise, we see how each one directly shape international maritime law, which loss of life become a lesson, forcing the world to recognize weakness in ship design and safety practices. Today, Chapter 2-1 of SOLAS stands as one of the pillars of ship safety, focusing on ensuring that ships are built strong, remain stable even when damaged, and are designed to minimize risk of flooding or fire. In conclusion, the history of SOLAS Chapter 2-1 is not just about rules and technical standards. It is about people, passengers, and seafarers whose lives were lost. Their sacrifices reminds us why strict regulations are necessary and why safety must always be the priority in maritime operations. Thank you.
Relationship to other SOLAS chapters. Chapter 2-2 Fire Protection, Detection, and Extinction. While Chapter 2-1 ensures watertight subdivision and structural safety, Chapter 2-2 focuses on fire integrity of the same spaces. Both work together to prevent hazards from escalating. Chapter 2-1 stop flooding from spreading, while Chapter 2-2 prevents fire from spreading. Example, a watertight bulkhead from Chapter 2-1 can also act as an fire boundary when designed with fire-resistant materials required by Chapter 2-2. Chapter 3 Life-saving appliances and arrangements. Chapter 2-1 ensures that a vessel remains stable long enough for evacuation procedures to take place. Chapter 3 provides lifeboats, life rafts, and survival craft for crew and passengers if abandoning ship becomes necessary. While Chapter 2-1's subdivision and stability standards, there might not be enough time to launch life-saving appliances in an emergency. Chapter 4 Radio Communications. Chapter 2-1 requires reliable electrical installations and emergency power sources. These systems directly support Chapter 4 while ensures continuous distress and safety communications at sea. For example, if the main generator fails, Chapter 2-1 requires an emergency generator so that GMDSS or Global Maritime Distress and Safety System equipment under Chapter 4 can continue to function. Chapter 5 Safety of Navigation. Chapter 2-1 ensures propulsion, machinery, steering gear, and electrical systems are reliable, which are essential for navigation. Chapter 5 adds the operational requirements such as voyage planning, navigational warnings, and equipment use. Electronic navigation aids, radars, ECDIS or AIS, mandated by Chapter 5 can only function if the electrical and machinery systems in Chapter 2-1 are reliable. Chapter 9 Management for the Safe Operation of Ships, ISM Code. Connection to Chapter 2-1 provides the technical requirements for ship safety, while Chapter 9 ensures that shipping companies have the management structures, trainings, and procedures in place to maintain those technical standards. For example, a ship may be built according to Chapter 2-1 standards but without the safety management system in Chapter 9, regular maintenance of machinery, watertight doors may be neglected, leading to accidents. Chapter 11-1 and Chapter 11-2 Special measures to enhance maritime safety and security. Chapter 2-1 sets the physical design standards, while Chapter 11-1 and Chapter 11-2 provide the inspection, certification, and security frameworks to ensure those standards are upheld. For example, port state control inspection check whether ships comply with structural and machinery requirements from Chapter 2-1. Similarly, secure access points and structural reinforcement may depend on construction rules established in Chapter 2-1. Chapter 12 Additional Safety Measures for Bulk Carriers. Chapter 2-1 applies to all ships, while Chapter 12 adds extra safety requirements for bulk carriers, which are prone to structural failure due to their cargo type and loading patterns. For example, Chapter 12 requires a specific strengthening of bulkhead structure and hatch covers beyond the general construction standards of Chapter 2-1. to prevent catastrophic structural collapse. For the summary, SOLAS Chapter 2-1 forms the backbone of maritime safety, covering the structural stability, machinery, and electrical aspects of ships. Other chapters built upon it. Chapter 2-2 ensures fire protection on top of watertight subdivision. Chapter 3 ensures evacuation if subdivision and stability cannot save the ship. Chapter 4 and 5 rely on machinery and electrical integrity to maintain communication and navigation safety. Chapter 9 ensures that management practices uphold the standard set by Chapter 2-1. Chapter 11 and 12 reinforce Chapter 2-1 through inspection, certification, and specialized ship type requirements. Together, these chapters form a layered system of maritime safety, starting from ship design and construction, supported by hazard-specific protection, Chapter 2-2, and Chapter 12, complemented by operational and equipment requirements, Chapter 3, Chapter 4, and Chapter 5, and maintained through management and inspection, Chapter 9 and Chapter 11.
Real-world examples of accidents due to poor construction or stability. To understand why SOLAS Chapter 2-1 exists, we need to connect purpose and provisions with real-life maritime accidents. Chapter 2-1 focuses on the construction, subdivision, and stability of ships, as well as the safety of machinery and electrical installations. In simple terms, it ensures that ships are built strong enough, divided into safe sections, and stable enough to survive flooding or damage. But these rules did not appear overnight. They were written in response to disasters at sea. Let's begin with the famous example, the Titanic in 1912. The Titanic was divided into watertight compartments, but the bulkheads did not extend high enough when the iceberg tore open its side, from one compartment to another like a chain reaction. This weakness in subdivision made survival impossible. More than 1,500 lives were lost. The sinking of the Titanic is the reason why the first SOLAS Convention of 1914 was created, and it was foundation of today's top Chapter 2-1. It showed that proper subdivision and bulkhead design are essential for survival. Now, let's look at the Herald of Free Enterprise in 1987. This roll-on and roll-off ferry capsized when it sailed with its bow door left open. Water flooded the car deck in less than 2 minutes. The tragedy revealed weakness and instability. The car deck was a large open space with no subdivision, so once water entered, the ship immediately lost balance. Chapter 2-1 directly addresses this kind of danger by requiring designs that limit free surfaces, effects improve subdivision, and make sure the ships can survive flooding for long enough for people to escape. Another major case is the Estonia disaster in 1994. Its bow visor failure during a violent storm, allowing water to rush onto the car deck. Again, the lack of subdivision and rapid flooding caused the ship to sink within half an hour. More than 850 lives were lost. After this tragedy, SOLAS Chapter 2-1 further strengthened, especially for passenger ships, to ensure that bow structures are stronger, stability standards are higher, and flooding survivability is increased. So, what do these accidents teach us in relation to SOLAS Chapter 2-1? Each one revealed a different weakness. The Titanic exposed flaws in watertight subdivisions. The Herald of Free Enterprise showed the dangers of open car decks, poor stability. The Estonia proved the need for stronger construction and better flood protection. The purpose of Chapter 2-1 is clear. It exists to prevent these weaknesses from ever costing lives again. Its provisions require that ships are subdivided into watertight sections that can survive flooding. Stability standards are strict enough to keep vessels upright even in emergencies. Machinery and electrical systems are reliable, so ship remain safe and operable even after damage. But rules alone are not enough. They must be enforced and followed in practice. The Titanic, the Herald of Free Enterprise, and the Estonia are powerful reminders that safety depends not only on good design, but also on discipline, responsibility, and constant improvement. In the end, Chapter 2-1 is not just about engineering or technical standards. It's about protecting lives. Every provision, whether about subdivision, stability, or machinery, is written in response to real tragedies. And every time we follow these rules, we honor those who were lost by making sure the same mistakes are never repeated.